In this video, I'm going to show you how you can make your own flowcharts, whether that's with pen and paper or by using Lucidchart or by using PowerPoint or Google Drawings, something like that. So to start with, what I'd like to show you first of all is just to remind you about the symbols on the flowchart that you're going to need. So whichever method you're going to use, you're going to need to use these symbols. So you'll see that this is the flowchart that I did for the cake with the decision about whether you're feeling healthy or not. So every flowchart needs to start up here. We start with what's called a terminator. So we've got one at the start and we've also got one at the end. So the one at the start obviously says start and the one at the end, surprise, surprise, says end. So we have those and they're this rounded rectangle shape. Now most of the things, the instructions that we have, they're called processes, and the processes are just rectangles. So you'll see examples of processes right throughout this, and here, and here, and here. So the thing that I mentioned as well was being able to make a choice. So in computer science I said this is called selection, when you make the program select what to do. So you'll see this am I feeling healthy, so you've got this rhombus shape in here for am I feeling healthy, and then that will always go off, or for us it will go off with a yes and a no. And the last thing I just need to talk about are these connectors. So we have connectors that run between them, so basically just arrows that go between them. Now some of the software like Lucidchart and even PowerPoint does this. They have this very clever thing where they can actually they know there's a little dot that appears here and it will just join automatically onto the next thing, but we'll get into that in more detail as we go through. But those are the main symbols that you're going to need. So if you are using software to do this, then one of the easiest things to use is this product called Lucidchart. So Lucidchart, you can use it on a web browser, so that means a PC, a Mac or a Chromebook. It will work in the web, and you can also download a free app, and that will work on an iPad, an Android tablet, and it'll work on a phone as well, but it might be a little bit small to work on a phone. Now Lucidchart is free. There's a free version, so you don't need to pay for anything, and the free version lets you make 3 flowcharts. Now what you can do if you want is you can make a flowchart and export that as a picture and then go back and delete your flowchart, or take pieces out of your flowchart and then make another one and export that. So you can actually work with the free one and get quite a lot done. Now you'll need to sign up, so you'll need to talk to your parent and sign up, because you need to be over 13 to actually use this. So speak to your parent, talk to them, and maybe sign up for this together with your parent. And the thing that I did was I logged in with my Google account. So if you go to log in, and on an app it's very similar. You go to log in, you can log in with Google, Yahoo, Office 365, or you can put your email and make a password and put that in, and you'll see down here links for the app as well. Now I'm showing you this on a PC, so this is the web browser version. If you look in the description for this video, you'll see that there is a link where you can jump to the iPad or Android version, and there's also a link where you can jump straight to PowerPoint as well. So you'll see up here I don't know how I've managed this, but I've got 4 documents, but you're only supposed to be allowed to make 3, and you'll see I've got this one that's called fridge choices here. Yeah, fridge choices. So I'm just going to open this and then show you the one that I did, and then we can actually have a look and see how we made it. So let's have a quick look around. So over here on the left it says flowchart, and if I hover over I've got processes, decision and terminator. So all I need to do if I want to use any of these is drag one of these onto the screen. So I've opened up another document that I made here, and you can see I've made a bit of a silly flowchart here where it starts and it asks is everything okay, and it doesn't matter whether you say yes or no, the answer is always to drink some tea. So I've made that quite silly flowchart, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this flowchart now bit by bit so that I can make a new document. Because I've made 3 things, I need to go and delete everything. So one thing I could do is I could just highlight everything by dragging around it and then just press the delete button on my keyboard. So to make my flowchart, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my over to the side here where it says flowchart and get hold of a terminator and just drag that on the screen, and I'm going to type start. Now up here you can see that you can make your text bigger, you can make it smaller, you can actually make your button bigger, make your button smaller just by moving it around, but I'm just going to leave it like that. So I'm not going to talk you through a full flowchart because you'll want to be getting on and doing your own, but just to show you that you can come over here, you can get hold of a process, drag it on, put it down there. If I double click, then I can change what it says inside there, and then I can drag a connector down. So to get a connector, I just move over start, and then my mouse turns into a crosshair, move to this circle here, it goes to a pink symbol, and I simply just drag it down and connect it like that. So I can go back over here and I can get all the other symbols that I need. So you can move up and down and round on the screen by right clicking your mouse. That will get you to move around. So if I go back to this fridges one and I want to go down to the bottom and just look at that, I can do that. Now I can zoom in and out as well. If I go to view, I can zoom in and zoom out, but I can also use keyboard shortcuts. So I can hold down the control button and then click the plus to zoom in, or click the minus to zoom out. Now you might find that sometimes when you're working on here, as I say, you need to move up and down. So what you can do is if you left click, that's just going to select things. That's no good for us. If you just want to move around, right click and drag, and then you can move up and down. Now you might notice that if I move down here, I'm running out of space. Now let's pretend that I need some more space and I'm running out, I want some more space. So I can go to view and go to infinite canvas, and then what this does, you'll see if I just zoom out a bit, you'll see that that gives me unlimited space that I can work on, so if I need some more space. So let's just imagine I've missed something out here and I want to add an extra step between cut a slice of cake and put the cake on the plate. So what I could do is I can click this connector and then delete it just by pressing the delete button. So what I'm going to do is drag around this part of the flowchart, and then what I can do, oh, it's got the top one anyway, I'll show you how to do that in a minute, and then just left click. But I've got to, if I left click here, it'll just try to select something. So if I click and drag around the bits that I want there, and then what I do is I left click, but I left click on top of one of the objects, and then that will move it down there. So you'll see this connector is still connected and it's done something very clever, it's just extended. But now I've got more space where I can put something in that missing gap. So let's say that I've finished and I want to export this as a picture, as an image, or as a PDF. I can come up here and click File and then go to Export, and then we've got all the export choices here where I can save these, where they can be saved as a PDF or saved as an image. And if I do that, then remember I can go back to my documents. If I want to, I can delete one of these from my documents because I've already saved it as an image. So this is Lucidchart on an iPad. Now if you're using an Android tablet, it's almost the same. So what I've done is I've got the free app and I've signed into it. So when children sign into this, you need to make sure that your parents have helped you sign in, because you need to be over 13 to use it. So we've got a pretty bare screen at the minute. There's not that much, but if I just look to the left hand side, I've got a little arrow at the edge of the screen. If I pull that, this sidebar opens and I've got all the things that I need here. So what I can do is I can drag my terminator onto the screen and move it on, and then if you look at this, you'll see that there are a number of things that you can do. So up here I can delete it, I can rotate it, and I can make it bigger by clicking on or dragging this little button here to make it bigger. So I can do that. Now if I want to change the text from terminator, so I tap it twice and then this pops up and you'll see over here, this is where my text is. So I can just delete that and type start. Now you'll notice that it is very, very small in there. So there's a number of things that I've got here where I can actually change the text colour. I can make it bold here. This is so that I can decide how to align it. Is it going to be in the middle? Is it the left, the right, the top, the bottom, and so on? And then here, this is the important one. Now, this is to make the text bigger and smaller, and you can change the font. But you'll notice it's pretty difficult to use because the pop-up for making the text bigger is actually on top of the box. So what I'm going to do is just tap somewhere else to close that, and maybe move my box across a little bit with my finger, and now go to it again. So if I tap the plus, you'll see that that start is getting bigger, and then it'll get to a point where it's so big it looks like it's disappeared. Now what's happened there is it means I need to make my rounded rectangle, my terminator, bigger so that I can see it, but I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller and it fits. So if I tap, you'll see it says done over here. So I tap done, and then I can close that, and then I've got my start on the screen. Now I'm not really happy with where that sits inside that box, but I want to get on with this so that you can actually start doing it yourself. So if I get hold of a process, just long press it, drag it out and put it onto the screen, then I can do the same thing here. I can make it bigger, I can put the text in that I want, and so on. We've got these nice little buttons when I move it, this blue line there that aligns it so that it's in line with the one above. Now to actually make a connector between any two things, tap on the top one, then tap on the plus and drag it down, and then it will connect to the object that is below it. And if you move it around, it sticks to it, and you can move it to wherever you want it to go. So if I do want to delete anything, including any of the connectors, I just need to tap on them, and then I can choose that bin symbol. Now I can use my two fingers on the flowchart and bring them together to zoom out, or I can push them apart to zoom in. Now when you're designing your flowchart, if you start to run out of room on your iPad, you'll notice that you've got this symbol down here at the bottom right hand side, and if you hold it and drag it, then that will give you more of a background that you can move around, so you can manage your space a bit better. Now having said that, there are some screens or some flowcharts that I can open and it doesn't have that symbol in the bottom right hand corner. I'm not really sure why. Right, let's move on to the next bit. So this is my flowchart here that I made about healthy eating and the cake and the apple in the fridge. So what I've done here is I thought, oops, what if I want to put another step in my flowchart somewhere? Well, what I need to do is I would need to move these down. Now I've already deleted the connector here, but I will need to move it down. So in order to do that, I put my finger on the screen, I don't let go, and it turns into a crosshair. Let me just try that again. So as soon as I see that crosshair, I've got to start moving it, and it lets me drag a selection. So I've actually selected the bottom three. It looks like I've selected cut a slice of cake, but I haven't. So if I get hold of those, I can then move those down and then make more space where I can actually put my connector in. Oh, that's good. As I move it down, it does actually give me more space. It just automatically expands to give me more space. So now I can come back and I can add any more processes that I want to add into this particular part of my flowchart. So let's pretend I finished my flowchart. In fact, I'm just going to use the undo button in the top right hand corner to go back and actually put my flowchart back as it was. So let's just do that and put that back. Now I am missing a connector. I'll just put a connector quickly back onto that part of the flowchart, and I finished my flowchart there. So what I want to do now is I want to save this as a picture on my iPad. I want to export it. So up in the top right hand corner, you'll see there's a square with an upwards arrow, which is the symbol for sharing. If I tap on that, I'm going to choose JPEG, which is a picture, and then I'm going to tap export, and then it will ask me, what do you want to do with it? Now I'm going to go to save images. Now if you're using an Android tablet, it will look slightly different. It might say save to library. But if I do that, then that saves my picture. So that means I could actually come and delete this flowchart now that I've finished it, I'm happy with it, I've saved a picture of it, I've got a copy. So I could actually delete that and then go back into Lucidchart and make another one. So you'll see I've got some flowcharts that are in here. So you're only supposed to be allowed to make 3 flowcharts, or keep 3 flowcharts you can edit at the same time. One of the interesting things is, if I'm signed into this, but I'm also signed into the same account on a PC, so I could actually edit on both of these things. This is how you can use PowerPoint to make your flowchart. Now, to start with, PowerPoint opens with a slide page, and you might want to change it so it looks slightly different. Because we're not using it for a slide, you might want to change it to a paper size. So what I can do here is I can come up to design on the version of PowerPoint I'm using and come over to where it says slide size, and instead of standard or widescreen I can go to custom slide size, and then what I can do there is I can change it to one of these drop down sizes. So you'll see I've got things like A4 paper that I can put in there, and then from here what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to ensure fit there. Right, okay, so I'm going to get rid of these backgrounds here, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and click on insert, and I can go to shapes. Now under shapes there is a section that says flowchart, and if I come across here I'll see one that says terminator, so I can click on there and then just drag out the terminator that I want on the screen. So I can change all the colours there, but what I can just do is just double click inside there and I can write what I want it to say. So I've got all the usual options where I can make the text bigger, I can move this around, do things like that. So I can do this, and then again I can go back to insert and go to shapes, go down to flowchart, and maybe I'll put a process in. So you'll see here I can see processes, and I've also got my decision. So those are the main ones that we're going to use. So I can click underneath there and I can put my process and just double click and write what I want to put. So this might be, say for example, if I was doing the one that I did, it could be open the fridge. So here you'll see I've done a lot more of the work, and I've put some of my processes in, although I haven't written them. I'm sure you can do that. I'm just trying to speed things up a little bit. And we've got the decision here, and most of them are connected with connectors. So I can go to insert, but I can go to shape, and instead of having to go down to flowcharts, you'll see I've got recently used up here. So I can click this line arrow and then just connect that missing one up there, and then I can just double click into these and put the writing that I need to put in. Now it is rather tricky to get a connector to go from here, from open the fridge, and then maybe to write eat the apple, and then to get it to connect to the terminator there. So sometimes you can't go in a straight line, but there's a really cool one you can use. So you can go to insert and shapes, and if you go to lines, instead of just using the line arrow, if you use connector elbow arrow and click on that, and if you click on the dot underneath and you go down to whichever one you want to use, and move over to the end one, then it does that, so it will connect as a right angle. So that's a great way that you can use, you can connect up your elements when they are not in a straight line underneath each other. Now obviously your flowchart might look slightly different to mine, but this will give you an idea of how you can make your own. Now one more thing, when you save this, you can say file and save just to save it as a regular PowerPoint. But one thing you might want to do is click File and Save As, and then you can choose some different options. So you'll see here I've opened up a saving dialog box. I've clicked File and Save As, and if I look down here I can save it as a PDF, and I can also save it as a picture if I want to by coming down here and clicking JPEG. So I can save my finished flowchart as a picture or as a paper document as a PDF. Click here to see all our other Takeaway Challenge videos, or click here to see all our how-to videos to show you how to do the challenges, or click here to subscribe to our channel.